What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the NASCAR Nuts and Bolts Weekly Podcast. Episode 8 this week, y'all. I am your host, Flag to Flag NASCAR. Gene is my name, and I got my loyal compatriot here, Mr. Kaleb Dunston, at Kaleb Dunston. What's up,
Yes,
Kaleb? How you
sir.
doing,
Yes,
sir?
sir. Doing good this afternoon for you and evening for me. Well, I guess you could say evening, but doing good. Doing good. Doing really, really good. We just came off of Daytona, and Atlantis this weekend. So I'm feeling good. We got NASCAR's back and cars on the track. So I'm doing pretty good.
Awesome, awesome. Well, as you can see, my man, I am on location. I have flown the nest for a few this week. Man, I had a crazy week, man. To be honest with you, I've been just come back from Daytona. I'm repping the Willie B stuff this week, as you can see in the Hendrick Motorsports gear. What a week, man! It was pretty crazy. I'll get into it in the racing rundown in just a minute, but man, it was touch and go on the rain going down. We left Saturday from North Carolina and drove down to Florida. And pretty much by the time we hit the state line in Florida, it started raining. Man, it didn't stop till Monday. Monday about 10:30, 11 o'clock. And but I tell you, when it did stop, man, it was perfect weather. Nobody went home. I'm gonna tell you right now, man. And going down there in the last 3 years, the atmosphere was amazing. I can't wait to get into that part. Met some really, really cool folks and gained some listeners just by being down there, man. It was awesome. So super. I'm still, if you can't tell already, man, I am still jacked up over the Daytona 500, man.
Man, I would be too. You're down there. Hendrick Carr wins it. William Byron wins the Daytona 500 and Hendrick's 40th anniversary. I mean, it doesn't get no better than that. I mean, hey.
Yeah, man. It was amazing, and I was joking like a couple months ago. I said I'm not going to at the folks down at the Hendrick Motorsports Museum and Gift Shop. I told them, I said I am not going to stop going down to Daytona until a Hendrick car is in victory lane. And man, it just took 3 years. So super excited about that. What you got in the intro, man? Well, before I get into that, Kaleb, as people can tell, our compatriot Thomas is not on the episode as of right now. Thomas is super busy at work. He's grinding, y'all. So he may call in. If he doesn't, we'll have to get him on the next week's episode. But Kaleb, I'm gonna kick it to you, man. What you got on any intros?
Yeah, like you said, Thomas is out. He's out there making that money for these races. We're gonna splurge at, I'm sure, and I'm sure he's gonna buy at least 12 diecasts each track we go to this season. So he's got to get it up. But my intro, I wanna touch on this. William Byron wins the 500. He gets bumped from behind by his teammate Bowman and gets a little squirrely. But I just want to know, where'd all this William Byron hate come from? That, that's my question.
Absolutely, buddy. I'm telling you, I don't know because it seems like it's just come on very recently. Maybe it was exacerbated by the NASCAR um, Netflix show. I really don't know, man, because Willie B has got it going on right now, and I'll be honest. At the track, there was quite a few sitting around me that was kind of poo-pooing the win a little bit as he was tearing up the infield down there. Like they're a little upset. I get some race fans don't see it real time where like they didn't probably see Bowman pushing him a little too aggressively when he got into to Brad Keselowski, but there was a couple of mad fans, and then you've seen it on social media, right?
Yeah, I mean, you've seen it this year. I've seen it last year. I think, I don't know if it's because he was, backing. Not, I'm not gonna say backing into these wins, but is it I don't see it being a Chevy issue with people not liking him driving Chevy. I kind of don't see it being a Hendrick issue. I don't know. I just think it was the wins. I mean, did they get tired of just seeing him win, or just seeing him lucking the wins like that? And I guess you could say Atlanta, Watkins Glen, and a couple more. But I don't get it. And what I seen on social media, people was like, "Oh man, he's a piece of stale cardboard." I mean, all he did was iRace, and now he's in Cup. So I mean, I don't see the issue.
Yeah, I mean, listen, not everybody's going to be engaging and dynamic every single week, and I think if you follow William Byron and you follow kind of his path and even just who he's been in the Cup Series, he's pretty much just your average regular guy like you would want to hang out with. He's a good Christian dude. He puts together Legos to kind of keep his mind sharp.
You took the words out of my mouth. I was gonna say, don't forget, he's an avid Lego builder.
Yeah, listen, I do I don't do it anymore, but when I was younger, I used to love doing that. And then um, he's kind of that guy you'd want to, if you, I guess if you were a gal or something, you'd want to bring him home to mom. And Blaney said he was been the coolest guy he could pick to date Aaron. And Denny recently was asked at a meet and greet down there in Daytona. I think it's on his pod this week. How what driver would you want to date your sister? And he said William Byron. So I mean, if that's what makes people upset, I mean, I don't get it. Number one, but like I did. A couple of people were yelling at the track about how he's lucked into a couple wins and stuff. But I mean, you got to put yourself in position to be there at the end, and he certainly did that. And
Yeah.
I think, I don't get it either, man. But let's be honest, the NASCAR fans got to hate on somebody, and it's just, I guess, William Byron's turn is all I can think of, anyway.
Yeah. I don't think Denny's is over, but I think Byron's slowly getting up there.
Yeah, you might have alluded to a little bit of what's going to happen on the pod with that, and Denny. But anyway, well, you got anything else, bud?
No, I'm good. That's all I want to touch on was William Byron.
All right, well, let's get into the racing rundown. And folks, you know it already. What we're going to do, we're going to recap the Daytona 500 Great American Race. I want to start off by obviously, y'all know I went down there. This is my third year in a row attending the race, and I'm gonna tell you, my old self, if I can help it, y'all, I am not gonna miss a Daytona 500 until they put me in the ground. There's something about it. We're gonna get Kaleb out there next year. We're probably gonna get Thomas out there next year. It's really just the spectacle of the Great American Race, being down there, being so excited. NASCAR kicking off their marquee event at the very first points paying race of the season. It's just really awesome. And this is actually the first time that I've had weather involved in the weekend, so to speak. So 2022, when Austin Cindric won, Chamber of Commerce weather. You couldn't have picked a better one. Last year, same thing. Kaleb, you was telling me 2 weeks ago, watch out for the weather, and here we were. It was not a great weather weekend. So
Not gonna say I jinxed it because I wasn't there, but you were in Florida.
yeah, I ain't gonna put that on you, buddy. It was bound to happen. The more you go consistently, I'll be honest. I got 2 in with no weather. I figured something like that was gonna happen, so it wasn't a big deal. Just powered through. Now I did. I am on location in Las Vegas, Nevada right now, y'all. That's why I've got the different background if you're watching on YouTube. So North Carolina down to Florida on Saturday. Literally when the checker flag dropped, I was running to my car, jumping in, hitting 95, got back to North Carolina at 4 o'clock in the morning, then on the plane to Las Vegas by about, I guess, 3-4 o'clock that afternoon. So last night, buddy, I crashed, man. I did, but it was
So
the Daytona part was awesome, even with the rain. I was down there on Saturday, just kind of walking around. Nothing was open at the track. Unfortunately, I was looking for merch haulers. I was looking for just something exciting. But then again, so was everybody else. The one thing down at the track that was open was the gift shop inside of the Daytona Experience Museum. And let me tell you, I walked in. I can't tell you how many people were in there, but man, it was. They had it set up where you didn't have to wait in line, but boy, I had on a little rain jacket, and by the time I left out of there, I might have been dripping in sweat, buddy, because it was just
Oh my
the
gosh.
body heat all over it was
God.
crazy, you know. But no, it was a good experience. Got to meet with some fans and things. I really want to shout out a couple. One I know. So DCXOXO on Instagram. If you're listening, we were riding in that Sunday on the trolley to the fan zone. Really great people. That was their first Daytona 500. So I just want to shout them out. Hope they had a great time, and I hope they come back for years to come. Um, Really good conversation and stuff with them. And then I get into the fan zone, and let me rewind. Let me rewind. So y'all already know I picked Kyle Busch last week to win his first Daytona 500, and you know things didn't work out for KFB, but Saturday as I'm riding around the track doing certain things, interacting with fans, all I kept seeing was William Byron, like William Byron diecasts. Um, I pumped $24 worth of gas on Saturday, and that just threw me off, man. When I did that, I was like, "Oh Lord, what?" All the signs for Willie B in the 24 just kept being there, and like Sunday when I go into the fan zone, I see this guy, and if you're listening, because I connected with this dude, but I didn't get his information. He was holding the garage sign for Chase Briscoe. He
Yeah.
like I guess you could at the end of the race. I'm sorry, the race introductions they just let fans take them. Didn't know
Yeah.
that, but I'm gonna have to think about that next year. So I walked up and said, "Hey man, I know you wanted that Willie B sign." He's like, "Yeah, I had to just settle for Chase Briscoe." So we just started talking. He had decked out in all William Byron gear. And I started telling him, I said, "Man, listen, I have all these signs. Like I'm pumping $24 worth of gas. I'm seeing William Byron diecast all over the place. It was weird. It was just weird." And then on my social media feed Saturday and Sunday, like all I could see was William Byron popping up, and I follow Willie B. So I mean, but nobody else was popping up. So
Yeah.
all the signs were there. So I started telling this dude that, and he was like, "Man, if he wins," and I can't tell you what he said because it's not G rated, but if you're listening, man, hit us on the DM, respond to the comments, let me know who you are, brother, because I know you were pumped up on Sunday, or I'm sorry, Monday night when he crossed the checkers. But yeah, man, it was just a great experience, man. We're gonna get into the race just a little bit right now, and I'm gonna tell you the weird thing for me. I love the race, and we're gonna put this on the race meter after I get done. But stage one was a little weird. And
Right.
Kaleb, go ahead and tell the listeners what you saw even on the broadcast, and I'll hit my perspective on it. But what did you see in stage one?
Yeah. Well, going back to your William Byron, luck. I guess rabbits' foots and heads on, or pennies on heads and whatnot. Wasn't your seat number 24 as well?
Dang, Kaleb, you are right. It was.
Yes.
Absolutely, it was, man. And tell the listeners, did I text y'all Saturday with a little bit of a premonition? I wanted to get it
He
on
did.
record with my boys. So what did I do?
He did. If anyone needs the proof is in the messages. But going into the Fox broadcast and what we saw on TV, what me and Thomas saw, and we were texting about it. The cars were going half throttle. It seemed the cars were going much slower than what we thought we're seeing. And you saw on TV, they didn't really broadcast as much, but AJ Allmendinger kind of catching the pack. You're seeing tweets about it. You're seeing posts about it. And, you're seeing drivers, I'm listening to Chase Radio and I'm listening to Denny's also. And Denny was like, I'm pushing the guy in front of you. He's not going. But it looks like the drivers were just half throttle the first stage. Now, me and Thomas thought beforehand, okay, maybe they're just taking it easy because of, the hosts of our Burton wreck and whoever else was involved in that. But no, they were just going half throttle, not even pushing foot pedal to the metal in stage one. So that's what we saw.
Yeah, buddy. I've never remembered being at a race at a super speedway drafting track where I saw one car going around, got lost the draft, and lap after lap, a pack of 34 or so cars was not only not catching that car, but they were like losing ground to the
Yeah.
single number 16 car like AJ Allmendinger going around track. Weirdest thing I'd seen. I caught it after once I caught it, it was like 5 laps, 10 laps in. I was like, what
Yeah.
is going on? And then I heard on the scanner, I can't remember who I was listening to at the time because I was flipping back and forth. I usually just stay right on the number 5 channel. But at the Daytona 500, you just got to jump around because there's so much action. So I
Yeah.
can't remember, but like I remember a spotter saying, hey, the lead 2 cars are going 60% throttle. And I
Yeah.
thought, what in the heck? But then again, I start thinking, oh, this is a fuel mileage game now. It really, for in the next gen car, that's all it ever is a fuel
Yeah.
mileage thing. So that was weird, man. But thank God they got through that. Your boy Chase wins stage 1. Um, Awful racy, if you ask me, man. He was awful racy in this thing.
Yeah.
What you think?
Definitely much more aggressive. Definitely thinks he's more comfortable this season. Definitely thinks he's ready to tackle on this season. We're actually seeing him smile with teeth. So I think I think I think he's ready to go. He's hungry. I think he's gonna win multiple races this season. I think that 9 team, it's fast. The car's fast. They're gonna hit on all cylinders and get some wins.
Man, I'm gonna tell you, I couldn't agree with you more. There's a reason I picked him in my championship 4. Um,
I think that stage 1 win was I think it was a statement. He got and he raced for that stage win in the first stage, those last few laps.
so what
Edging out.
you're saying is that was his way of saying I'm back.
Yeah. Yeah, he's like, I'm out of Dawsonville. I'm ready to go.
Yeah, yeah, I believe it. I believe it. So, um, yeah, that was really cool to see. Right, really
Oh
encouraging.
yeah.
And then once we got off stage 1, I did and I just accept it. It is what it is. It's not going to really affect my rating, but I just knew stage 1 was a wash. Stage 2 got really racy at the back half of the stage,
Yeah.
and man, it was some of the best. And your boy Ryan Blaney put a move on Austin Cindric, man. And
Hey.
Cindric was strong all race. So,
And
what's your thoughts on that?
Blaney said, and Blaney pointed out he's helping nobody. No teammates. He was taking no prisoners. Blaney's going for it. So
Well,
I love it.
if you remember, Caleb, in 2022 when Cindric won his lone NASCAR Cup Series race, which happened to be the Great American Race, he didn't really do um, Blaney a whole lot of favors, not only in that race but in the entire year. You
No.
know,
Yeah. I mean, I think he's still coming off that championship momentum. I definitely think Cindric surprised me. For sure. I mean, we talk about the Penske cars, and of course Joey's going to be fast. And, Blaney's always shown speed, and it's just the matter of execution for Blaney. But the 2 definitely surprised me running up front the way he did. I mean, the 2's been selfish in some races and with itself, and you alluded to 2022, the 2022 500, where he came up on Blaney, and Blaney had the run and just shoved him into the wall. So I mean, I don't fault Blaney for it. No doubt about it.
not at all. It didn't really affect Cindric's race. I mean, let's be
No.
honest, it didn't mess him up or anything. If I tell you what, we talked about where is Austin Cindric, and he did show up, so I got to give the man
Yeah.
credit.
Yeah.
All that studying and being a student of the game, so to speak, that came out, and
Yeah.
he raced a good race. So didn't get the result he wanted, I know, but definitely did a good job there. I tell you what, if he keeps running like this, we might have to steal a fire suit and dress old Thomas up because that's a Thomas twin right there, Austin Cindric.
Man, doppelganger. Get him a discount tire fire suit and a pair of glasses. Grow sideburns out. Yeah. Thomas will for sure get his VIP in the infield then.
Yeah, Thomas. That's your ticket into the garage. Hot pass area
Yeah.
right there. So, but yeah, man, just really, really awesome stage 2 ending, and then man, stage 3 about gave me a heart attack. The whole 70 laps, and Caleb and I were texting back and forth. It was like heart attack time because it was action packed.
Yeah.
You know, it was definitely one for the ages in my book. Bowman kind of getting a little aggressive. Obviously, he's not trying to wreck his teammate there at the end, causes him the big one, pushing Byron into squirreliness. Now, if you're watching it, you can see Byron's a little out of shape anyway.
Yeah.
Couple corners into that deal, and Bowman just pushed a little too hard, got into the six, and Brad Keselowski turned back into the field, and the rest is history. So I hate that happened, but you could feel it coming. Let's be honest, at the Daytona 500 in the closing laps. So, what's your take on the contact? Just what's your thoughts on that?
Yeah. Definitely a racing deal. I think just typical speedway racing, and Bowman gave him a push. Byron looked already loose. Look at the back end was already loose, and just got caught in that wind tunnel, and he just went around. I don't fault Bowman for anything. He's trying to push his teammate up to the front and get himself up to the front. And I just, bad luck for Brad and those that were involved, and Joey who had a really tremendous car all night, all day, But I definitely just a racing deal. I don't see any fault on it. Bowman just pushing. Was Bowman getting pushed? I don't.
I didn't see that, but I haven't been able to watch the race back on telecast yet because I've been so running around so much. So I don't think so, but yeah.
Yeah, racing deal. I don't see anything on it. I don't, even when it comes to the team meeting, or I guess you could say probably the team meeting today. Of course Byron was in New York, but I don't. I'm sure it got brought up, but nothing like hey, Bowman, don't do that. But yeah,
Yeah.
racing deal, in my opinion.
Yeah, it took out a lot of guys that are ending. I don't want to say ending. That's a terrible way to say it. But they're on the back half of their careers. It took out some your Brad Keselowski's, your Martin Truex's, and Kyle Busch made it through that deal. But
Yeah.
that's the only unfortunate thing. Again, but I want to touch on something that you just said that I think we need to acknowledge for our listeners and just in general. Is like, y'all, I don't know how it looked on the broadcast. Joey Logano looked lights out, faster than anybody, best car on the track that day. He could push, he could lead. It looked like he was just buying his time to me. So I know he had to be super bummed.
Yeah. Me and Thomas have been saying it before the season even started, man. Watch out for that 22. That's another one that's hungry. Joey
Yeah.
is hungry, and he's coming to kill.
Yeah, for sure, man. For sure. So hated for Joey Logano, but not always the fastest car wins these races, y'all. I ain't telling anything nobody here knows or doesn't know. But yeah, man, just really good race. Are you ready to put it on the nuts and bolts race meter?
Yeah, I like what I saw. I loved it. Definitely one of my favorite Daytona 500s in a good while. I got to give this race an 8. I mean, it was perfect. It wasn't a wreck fest. I think we had a total of 5 cautions the entire race. It was, I mean, it was perfect. I mean, yeah, and like anybody else, I love to see them race to the white. But, I mean, it was all in all good race, not a wreck fest. One big one, and I guess not intermediate wreck, but overall, I'll give it an 8. Solid racing, good passing, and I think the drivers executed when they need to execute it.
Yeah, yeah. I'm gonna put this race on my nuts and bolts meter, and I'm gonna give it a solid 9.0 Daytona 500. I don't know. First of all, I don't know why people are so upset about this throwing the caution thing because, like, it is. What do you expect NASCAR to do? I mean, you got 2 cars wrecking down and about to come up into the field. I know it's the last lap. It's not ideal. It's not ideal timing. I get that, but what do you expect NASCAR to do? Like,
Right.
and I think the only thing, if you're like, I guess if you're the 48 team, you're probably you're having a rough week this week, right? But I mean, other than that, I don't have any. I don't have a single complaint. I thought it was definitely the best 500 I've been to personally. And I'm not just saying that because it's a Hendrick breaking the Hendrick 10-year drought at the Daytona 500. It was just a darn good race from start to finish. If you can get through stage one and understand what's going on, and we'll get into
Yeah.
that a little bit later on the drafting tracks. But yeah, I'm gonna give it a 9, and really just I can't say how pumped I was, man. It was amazing race and amazing to stick it out. I'm glad that's another thing. Yeah, it was just well attended. Nobody was going to you know say they were going home. The amount of people in the fan zone and the amount of people in the stands let me know that very
Oh
few,
yeah.
if any, people went home, man.
Oh yeah. For sure.
Oh, and real just to close this out, are you gonna give me any credit for last week predicting the Chevys running good, or are you just gonna say, "Hey, man, they just everybody else just wrecked"?
Man, I mean, I gotta give you credit. They were up there running with the Fords, man, and we saw Toyotas at the Clash, but the Toyotas look non-existent in my opinion. I mean, you have Bubba up there in the top five every now and then. You had Denny trying to make some moves, but I mean, it was the Chevy and Ford show at Daytona.
Yeah. To my at the track untrained eye, I can tell you the things I noticed about Toyota was Denny was just laying back until it was time. And what a true master of super speedways and drafting tracks, man. He might be the best one out there because he just knows when to go and when to lay back. And yeah, there wasn't a whole lot of Toyota, and I thought Toyota was going to really do it, but man, I guess it was the Fords when I'm really thinking about it,
Yeah,
other than Chevy. So,
I mean,
um,
you had Penske and RFK up there, and then I mean, Hendrick and Trackhouse. I mean, they were really still in the show.
yeah. All right, well, let's move on, man. What you got?
Yeah, so we're gonna dive into our trackside chatter. Now, I know you were at Daytona. While I was, here in Charlotte watching the Daytona 500 on my TV while you're, up in the stands taking in the racing fuel and the rubber in your teeth and in your hair and everything. But I gotta I gotta talk about the Fox broadcast from the Truck Series down to Daytona 500. I think it was probably I've never seen so many commercials in my life with the truck race.
Wow,
I
wow,
mean, I want to say they ran like half and half with the caution laps and the cautions and the actual green flag laps. I mean, Michael Waltrip tries to do his best. I appreciate it, but the truck race it was unbearable. It was
yeah,
like, oh my goodness. I mean, if I can find that text Thomas sent about the trucks, it'll pretty much sum it up. But Xfinity. Well, it was that night. It was after the day. It was the five after the 500. It was pretty decent. It was okay. I mean, the broadcast was okay. Wasn't I don't think it was as many commercials, but it was a good handful. Um, but the 500, enjoy having Harvick in the booth. Definitely a game changer. I think Harvick keeps Clinton line. And it was I think it was right at the beginning when I don't know if Harvick was joking about this or what, but he told Clinton, he was like, you're in my space, move over. You're gonna have to go and find that. But
man, that's great.
I definitely think it toned Clint down a little bit, in my opinion. It Harvick does really great in the booth. It definitely adds another perspective. His insight in it, his and just freshly coming out of the next gen car, telling how you feel in Daytona, getting ready for Daytona in this car versus the Gen 6, giving all his insight, what he knows going into the race, going out of the race, going to the next race, what this next gen car can do at Daytona. I think it was really good to have him in the booth.
Yeah. Again, I'm having to lean on you for this because I haven't been able to watch back. Would you say would you say Boyer on a scale of 1 to 10? If Boyer being a 10 was his way, all over the top, and like Boyer being just normal color commentator and being a 5. Where did he land? Do you think?
I say I say about a 6. He
Okay,
because I think Harvick really mellowed him out this in the booth. Now, I mean, I don't know. Harvick to me was more quick witted enough to match Boyer's energy on TV, but I got to give it a 5. I got to give it a 5. And
that's not bad. That's
Boyer
perfect,
didn't,
actually.
Boyer didn't use the 30. I think he didn't he used the word hot rod like 25% less more than he did before. So I mean, and I think this was probably the best Fox broadcast for Daytona 500 within the last like 3 years, probably since you've been going to Daytona. So because I don't think it wasn't that many commercials, but it was unnecessary commercials in certain parts, like the Wendy's little snippet they did, like 3 commercials back to back to back, and when I think that was like, I was like, really, and I think that was something major getting ready to happen, and then I think when Chase took the lead, it was in commercials. So I missed that. Well, we all missed that if you weren't there.
Gosh, man, that's no bueno then, because that was the crowd out there when Chase took the lead. That was
Oh
something. You
man,
almost remind me of when Junior would take the lead.
man. Oh, I will add, you're gonna see that. I was gonna wait for you to see this and see what you thought, but they did crank it up during the pit stop.
Oh, come on. That's a fail. That's a fail, man. Oh man, just when you had me thinking, it was that's a really big snafu, man. Isn't it? Is it not?
Yeah, I don't, and that was, and that was the only crank it up. It was during the pit stop, so it was literally the zzz, and then off the wheel, and you know back on, and then tires off.
Oh
That
my
was it.
goodness. I ain't never they probably did that before, but I can't never remember them doing a crank it up during pit stop sequence.
No,
Come
that was
on,
and I think that was after that was either the first or second stage. I think it was, the sun was up, so I think it was the first stage or during the green flag stops.
all right, so let's do this because we kind of talked about it a little last week, but we didn't get fully into it. Correct me if I'm wrong, Caleb. Junior doesn't have a contract signed with NBC.
Nothing is
You
finalized.
said last week, if I'm Fox, I'm on the phone. I'm burning up the phone lines, opening up the checkbook. Talk about it, man. What you got? Finish that thought.
Man, I'm sitting Mike Joy down. Come July, I'm like, look, this is probably gonna be your last season. It's time to wrap it up. And if I'm Fox, I'm shooting Dale Jr. some offers more than NBC. Because I think if you have Kevin Harvick, Dale Jr., and I mean, shoot, if you want to replace Clint Boyer, if we can just do Harvick and Jr., I think we'll be good to go.
Wow. Wow. Oh
Yes,
man. Well, listen, there's no bigger name in the sport than Dale Earnhardt Jr.
that's correct.
Um, so in all the negative press, so to speak, and fan comments that Fox gets,
Yeah.
it's hard to argue. And we have no insider. We're just a bunch of North Carolina boys who are fanatics. We don't have any insider knowledge on this, but like, really wonder if those conversations are happening, or.
Or I mean, let's bring, I guess you could say Mike Joy is more of the analyst on the show, but I say let's put Larry Mack back in there.
Mm, mm. Well, I tell you, I I can't do that to Mike Joy, man. I couldn't do it. I couldn't make that call. I'd probably get fired if I was an executive at Fox and Fox NASCAR and they told me to call Mike Joy and tell him to go sit down. I'd probably get fired because I would say, man, I can't do that to that man. And what he means. So I would probably not be in favor of that. But you know, I love Clint Boyer, man. I do. But like, if you had the opportunity to sign Dale Earnhardt Jr.
I don't
and
think
you
you
just signed
pass.
Harvick, right? He ain't going nowhere, right?
No.
Man, would you not?
I
and
think it's
maybe,
kind of a no-brainer.
or yeah, or like I'm not saying you fire Clint Boyer, but like you move him to a role different from the booth. Maybe he's running around.
I say we put Boyer on pit road.
Yeah, that would work, man. I
Yeah,
mean,
I see Boyer more on the pit road more than anything else.
yeah, yeah. I don't know, man. I just like you owe it. Like if anybody at the network, if Dale Jr. is unsigned, as he said a couple weeks ago, and there's been no movement on that, you owe it to your viewership, you owe it to your broadcasting network, you owe it to your fans to make that phone call. And maybe he don't pick it up. Maybe he's just playing around trying to get a little extra money out of NBC, knowing he ain't going nowhere.
Right.
Um, I did think in a scenario where that could happen, you could potentially be looking at, well, if I come, you got to bring Steve Letarte.
Oh
If
yeah.
um, and man, both of them guys, that's the hot ticket right now in the announcing game, in my opinion, and
Oh yeah.
probably will be as long as Dale Jr. keeps doing this.
Oh yeah.
Uh, so yeah, I feel like I'm gonna have some things to watch back on Fox, and the commercials. I mean, I always remember the Daytona 500 having commercials, but it sounds to me like it's almost was leaving more than normal. Um,
Yeah. You know, and I think we talked about this. Well, I think you sent the text. Maybe the at stage 3 there should be no commercials at all. Like a non-commercial stage 3. That should be no question
yeah, like
because I think at the end of the day, because that's going to be your most exciting, your most action-packed stage. So why go side by side? And if you're going to go side by side, if something happens, why not jump right in it instead of staying on a commercial?
yeah, yeah. I think I might have texted y'all or something at some point in the weekend about how why not like this stage for the Daytona 500. The final stage is presented by our key partners Coca-Cola, Geico, Xfinity, and Bush, and then you run all kind of things. Maybe you condense the screen down and you put little tickers or whatever, but it's like the Masters. How there's limited commercial interruption, and there's
Yeah,
certain sporting events where they just do not interrupt that action, and that's
right.
what we want as fans. So I think you could easily do that and still get your broadcasting and your TV marketing money
Yeah.
and not miss a beat. So I hate to hear that there was commercials like that, but all right, well, man, old Dale Jr. man, that's if he's out there, Fox. I don't know if y'all listen to us, might want to burn them phone lines up like Caleb's saying, and give this
Yeah.
man a call because that could flip your network in a New York minute.
Oh, yeah.
All right,
Yeah.
well, let's roll into the next one, and since you got that one, let's go. What you got?
Yeah, so let's dive in our Speedway Spectacle here and let's go into the Atlanta preview. What you thinking going into the Atlanta race this weekend? No rain this weekend. So that's exciting. Who do you got for the pole? Who do you got winning? What do you think is going to happen? Who's going to be fast and who's going to be slow and who's wrecking out first?
Golly. Who's wrecking out first? I don't even know if I'm gonna be able to answer that, but actually I got something for that. So yeah, I think here we are, because of the Olympics and things, I think, and well, not really the Olympics. I'm sorry, with what's going on in the LA market with Fontana. We're going to go to Atlanta in the second week of the regular season. It is a drafting track, so I would expect the same things to happen as far as like, so for instance, Joey Logano unloading fast and be in the class of the field in Daytona. Watch out for the 22. Think the Chevys will still be strong. They always seem to perform well in Atlanta. William Byron's got a couple wins in Atlanta. Chase Elliott's got his dub in Atlanta. So I can see the 24 and the 9 running really good. So let's see. I'm trying to think if there's anything I think that may be different from what we saw in Daytona.
do
And
you think they're still going to play that fuel strategy?
man, I really don't know, to be honest, because we'll get into that a little bit later in the show, but like I don't know if it comes down to it with the stage breaks being what they are in Atlanta. So I mean, I guess, yeah. I mean, it will come down to some fuel mileage stuff. So you'll have that deal where people in the beginning of the stage may lay back and try to conserve fuel to then take less fuel on the pit stop to then leapfrog and jump up. Denny Hamlin was big on talking about on his podcast, Actions Detrimental. Really good job of explaining how the strategy plays into that. So if y'all want to go and listen to that, I highly recommend listening to him because, however, regardless you feel about Denny Hamlin, there's no denying that he is one of the best drafting track racers we have on the circuit. So, yeah, I can't really see. I tell you what, I think Toyota, we mentioned earlier in the pod how Toyota kind of maybe didn't have the weekend that they wanted. So I think that could rebound in Atlanta. But, yeah, I got my picks if you want. Do you want me to go ahead and reveal them now?
I'll give mine. I'll give
Yeah,
my take on Atlanta, then we'll end on giving our picks.
perfect. Go ahead.
Yeah. So of course I definitely think Chevy will be fast. I think Fords will be fast. So I don't think it'll come down to a fuel mileage at the end because I don't think we've really seen that at the past Atlanta races. And then granted, Atlanta's only a mile and a half, so I don't think that would be too much of an issue. You mentioned Fords being fast, Logano unloading. I'm gonna tell you two that stuck out to me was Ross Chastain and Tyler Reddick. So those two qualified within the top five each year. This new Atlanta configuration has came in. So I'm definitely watching those two coming in, and of course I'm watching. Of course I'm watching Logano. I mean that Logano can and Denny as well. Those guys at this type of races, they're just so unpredictable, and they just peak at the right time during the race. And Cruz, Gabe Hart, and Paul Wolf, those guys make the right calls, right adjustments every time, and it seems like they're always there at the end of these type of tracks.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. I tell you what, while you were talking, I did think of one that might be a little bit of a difference. Um, I don't think Austin Cindric's going to run like he ran in Daytona.
Hmm, interesting. You think that's just some Daytona luck preview here?
I think he's got some Daytona mojo, and from winning the 500, he automatically, he's
Hmm.
on the Harley J. Earl Trophy, so he comes in with a little bit of swagger anyway at Daytona. I don't
Yeah.
know if he's going to be able to back it up this week, man.
Hmm. Interesting. We'll see.
All right. So, do you want to go with the picks now?
Yeah. Let's dive into it. Dive
All
into
right.
it.
So, for my poll winner, I am going to go with, despite having a whirlwind marathon week up in New York and having to carry around that trophy and probably not getting a whole lot of sleep and probably drinking a lot of Anheuser Busch products. I'm
I
gonna
feel. I
say,
feel like. I feel like. No, you go ahead. You go ahead. You go ahead. I want you to finish this one out.
yeah, I'm gonna say William Byron is gonna be my poll winner for this week in Atlanta. Man, he's gonna
Hmm.
back it up and be like, he's gonna have us thinking, wow, what this dude do over the offseason?
Hmm.
So that's my poll winner. And for the race winning pick, I'm gonna go with, although he got taken out in the big one last week, I think number 6, Brad Keselowski, gets off the schneid and wins his first race as a Cup owner with Roush Fenway Keselowski Racing, man.
Hmm.
And all the talk about him winning and stuff is over, and he locks himself into the playoffs in week 2.
Following. But no, what I was gonna say, you mentioned him drinking a whole lot of Bush products. I was about to say I kind of see Willie B as a Bush non-alcoholic type guy, or a O'Doul Heineken non-alcoholic wine daiquiri Kool-Aid type
Now, come,
drinker.
come on, Caleb. Now you just giving those haters, man, the haterade, man. Come on, man. This dude is this. I'm gonna tell you what, man. William Byron is drinking Bud Heavy. He is drinking Red Label Budweiser. He
Oh
might
my
even he
gosh,
might even crack a 40 of King Cobra every once in a while, man.
not the King Cobra.
Well, actually, don't I don't believe that, but now Willie B is drinking Bud Heavy, man.
Man, all I gotta say is if William Byron himself is listening to this podcast, you have to DM us or something. Tell you what is your alcoholic beverage, or someone in Hendrick Camp over there at Concord off of Bruton Smith can tell us what William Byron has been drinking since he has won the Daytona 500. We will gladly comment on that.
And Willie B, I know you work out like a fiend. I know you're in great shape. If you happen to be a Michelob Ultra drinker, don't tell it on the pod, man. Just tell us it's Bud Heavy. You might even want to go with what is that? The champagne of beers, Miller High Life.
Oh my god. Oh boy.
Oh
Oh,
man.
but going back to our picks, you know, for my poll winner, I am going with the person that you have winning the Ambetter 400 at Atlanta Motor Speedway, Mr. Brad Keselowski. I think Brad will be fast. I think RFK has found some speed within the recent years, and Brad knows how to run these tracks, and he's driving the Ford, and Fords have been really fast. So I definitely think he'll be on the pole. If not him, I definitely think a Ford will take the pole. But my winner for the Ambetter Health 400 will be the driver of the number 9 Hooters Chevrolet, the hometown kid from Dawsonville, Georgia, Mr. Chase Elliott. And I'm picking him because I've made my executive decision. I'm going down to the Ambetter 400 this weekend at Atlanta Motor Speedway, and I would love to see Chase win in his hometown while I'm there. So I couldn't go. I could not pick him.
Yeah, yeah. Well, no surprise there, and Thomas would be rolling his eyes if he was on the pod. So um, I can't fault you though. I mean, listen, we just inverted. I got Hendrick winning the pole, but RFK winning the race. You got RFK winning the pole, but Hendrick driver winning the race. So we're
Yeah,
locked in, man. We're definitely tracking on some level there. And yeah, listen, man, I would love it. You talk about announcing your presence back. You teased it at Daytona,
right,
being racy, and then you just dropped the hammer on them in your hometown race.
man.
Yeah, that do it, man. That would do it.
Man, I might have to do an emergency broadcast from the track. You talk about Willie B being on the high. Oh my gosh.
Man, if I wasn't probably gonna be sitting in the airport or something when the race is going on, or at least part of the race anyway, I would jump on there with you, man, because you're gonna be so happy when he breaks off of this thing and announces his presence back in a more formal way by getting that W. Um,
Man, you
yeah.
might see me on the Fox broadcast running across the track, hugging Jeff Gordon and Rick Hendrick myself.
Hey man, if you do that, make sure you are in your Chase Elliott fire suit costume that you wore in Martinsville for the playoff race last year. Because I'm gonna tell you, man, if we was rocking and rolling when you did that and we put that on social media, you
Oh
talk about
gosh.
tens of thousands of likes, man. A matter of
Yeah,
fact, get with me later, man. We're gonna do something with that costume.
got you.
Um, but yeah, listen, I can't even be mad at you, buddy. I'm not gonna say nothing about it, and I only give you congratulations if it happens. So
Yeah,
we'd love to see it too. Personally, I know Thomas too, and we'll get Thomas's picks. We'll announce them probably via social media before the
yeah.
race happens. If he does not call in on the pod tonight. So yeah, that sounds pretty good, man. We got our nuts and bolts picks, and we got a little bit of our thoughts about the race. Anything else you got on there?
No, I'm good to go. I'm good to go. I done got excited about Chase winning. I'm good.
Oh, can I say one honorable mention that I really had to think about and really wanted to say, but I'll,
Yeah.
I'll, I'll hold it. And if it happens, man, I will be so doggone happy. But I wanted to pick Corey LaJoy to be the race winner this weekend, man. I
You
think,
you know he was definitely he was in my top 5 of who I thought would probably win. I'm not gonna lie to you.
yeah, I think he's gonna run good because he ran super good down in Daytona,
Yeah.
and man, you talk about we were sitting there wondering in the off season, was he going to have pressure having these new teammates? And Zane Smith ran good too.
Yeah.
So I don't know, man. Like, shoot, if he wins, man, it'll be awesome. So I want honorable mention. I guess we can both agree. Honorable mention goes to Corey LaJoy. Hope you run well. Um, boy, you talking about penny stacking? You win that race, bud. Man, you won't be able to call it stacking pennies anymore. Stacking dollar bills, man. So anyway, great segment there. I can't wait for Atlanta. I'm super excited, man. We are on a high, man. This season is starting off with a bang, and I can't wait. All right, man. Well, let's roll on to our fuel for thought. And in this week's segment for fuel for thought, I want to talk about how NASCAR should go about fixing the race product at these drafting tracks, super speedways, however you want to call them. Out, some people like me slip up and call them plate races, and they don't run a restrictor plate anymore. But anyway, I want to talk about that a little bit, Kaleb, and get your thoughts. We alluded in the pod about the first stage being a little bit of a weird thing where they were going 60% throttle. You pack of 34 cars couldn't catch one car going around. That is a bad look for NASCAR, in my opinion, if it continues. But what we've got is we've got guys trying to save fuel because of the way the stages shake out. You can stop one time in a stage and make it to the end, and it becomes a fuel mileage game for every one of these stages. So what are your thoughts on that? Do you have any ideas to try and fix this? And what would you do, Kaleb, if you were sitting up there with Steve Phelps and Steve O'Donnell in the NASCAR high council? What would you do, man?
Yeah, so if I was down there and in downtown Charlotte, sitting up there in the meetings, I would. I don't think it's a stage racing issue. I'm a big fan of stage racing. A lot of people don't like it, but I think it's definitely made the racing more entertaining. It made the drivers actually race. And now I don't. Now I did have an idea. Now what if they got rid of the stage breaks like they did at road courses and award the stage points but no cautions? Which can mean there's no opportunity to play fuel strategy with timing. But I just think you wouldn't have to save fuel to gain spots on pit road if I'm looking at the aero package of the car. I'm looking at the aerodynamic of it. If it didn't make the passing near impossible at plate tracks, and the runs are next to nothing unless the cars can physically boom, just slam into each other, then you know I don't think there's nothing really else they can do other than maybe it's just the next gen car. Because I definitely don't think it's the stages. I don't think it's anything like that. But not these past few years, these restrictor plate races have boiled down to, coming off a pit road. And that's why I'm alluding to the arrow of it. So if you're not the pitting with a team or you're not pitting with a manufacturer, then you're screwed. You're basically going to be that back there in the back. And as long as you win a race off pit road or that group is winning a race off pit road, then yeah, you're going to be fine. Because I mean, you got to look. I'm looking at when later in the race, I want to say it was Hendrick. It was Hendrick and the Chevys. They pitted. They stayed out a couple more laps, and then they ended up cycling back and coming in. And I think they were next thing you know, they were all running like top 5, top 10. And then they caught. I want to say it was Ford, and then Chevys broke up that pack that was coming and chasing them. So I don't know. I mean, it's a tricky situation, but I definitely do not think it's a stage problem at all. I don't think it's a stage racing problem.
Yeah. You talked about something that's pretty much, I think, plaguing the aerodynamic game with the next gen, and I think we all love the next gen. Um, Generally speaking, collectively, for what it's bringing. I'll be honest, I love the way they look. They look like more like real cars to me. So that's just, I know it's somewhat superficial, but when I pull out a die cast and it on the old Gen 6 and it looked like it had been beaten with a hammer on one side and the back, and it's all yawed out and stuff. I mean, I didn't really prefer that, but anyway, going off on a little tangent there, my bad. But they're super draggy, right?
Yeah.
They're the I guess the downforce on these cars is like to the nth level, um, and they're I guess would you take the spoiler down to practically nothing? Would you do some things like that?
Yeah, I think I would. I would at least test it first, try it out. Cause we went to Talladega with those, as Junior said, Giant A spoilers, and we saw how that turned out. And I would just try different things. I mean, anybody can say more horsepower, but I think it's kind of one of those you just got to look at and just see what happens.
Yeah, I mean, we've all done it. I'm personally guilty of this. The more horsepower uh, cries, I've done it myself. But I'm starting to realize in listening to the experts and that's not it's easier said than done
Yeah,
because of all the the cause and effect relationships with the next gen car. Um, I'm with you on the stages, which is somebody as a traditionalist, I would say at heart, I've come to really get used to them. I see the value of them, and I think they create a level of excitement that I wouldn't want it not to be there. Let me ask you this. This is my thing. What about at the drafting tracks? Why not add a fourth stage to eliminate the fuel mileage game a little bit? Like,
so
what are
do
your
we go
thoughts?
to like a 600, a Coke 600 type, 600 600 race type? Well, Coke 600 type race, I'm trying to say.
Yeah, with
four
the four
four
stages.
stages, 4 stages. I mean, I can see it. I can see
Yeah,
it. I mean, would you still go 500 miles? Well, it's of course a Daytona 500, but would you? I don't know. I guess what I'm trying to say is, how would you do your lapping with that? Would you just still lower your laps to make it more intense, to race it more intense, or would you just keep it straight, or like a lesser the last stage, or more last stage, or like how would you do that? Or I guess even that out. I guess I should say.
yeah. I man, it's like it really is cause and effect because like when you think you fix one thing, you create another problem. I mean,
Yeah.
you got guys. You take the fuel mileage game out of it, and all of a sudden, guys aren't worried about saving the fuel for the four stages. But then, what I just thought about as we were literally just talking about this is like, when did tires never become a thing? Like, I
Yeah.
was looking at it like these tires, nobody cared about changing tires in Daytona.
Nope.
Like, it really wasn't a factor. And then if you have four stages and you eliminate that, then nobody's ever going to change tires. I'll go two complete stages without changing tires because it won't matter. I mean,
Yep.
I don't know, man. Good gracious. Like, it's not an easy fix at all when you start to talk about it. And I thought I had it figured out until I just thought about the doggone tires, man.
I don't
Um,
know. I do like what you said about the spoiler though. I think maybe a 3-inch spoiler, maybe a little bit more horsepower.
yeah,
Nothing like 900 because we don't want to see drivers flying in the stands. But I definitely think maybe a smaller spoiler can make a game changer in that.
yeah, yeah. And um, I mean, I hate to say it, but Goodyear could help us out with a little bit of a tire degradation, a move to tire degradation. You know what I mean? Like they
Yeah.
could really help us out. I think people still buy your Goodyear tires, especially if you put a NASCAR logo on the tire.
Oh
Uh,
yeah.
you might sell a few more. That's just a free marketing thing
You
from
know,
me. But
logos matter. Cough cough Lionel.
that's right. Logos matter. Oh man, great segue by the way. You that yeah,
Yeah.
that matters to us NASCAR fans. Logos.
Yeah.
Uh, but yeah, you don't want your premier drivers in the sport in any stage feel like they're just riding around 60% throttle, just logging laps. That I tell you, the biggest thing I don't think I mentioned it in the pod, but we've talked about it. What got me looking at AJ Allmendinger and the field not catching him, I tell you the biggest thing that got me on that, and I forgot I should have said it earlier in the show. The sound. When
Mm,
they started to go around in stage one, I almost thought mufflers was on. I was about to text y'all actually. It's like, hey, did they put mufflers on NASCAR stock cars and didn't tell me? Because it sounded so like muted.
yeah.
Uh, it was really noticeable, and that was kind of what keyed me in on watching, AJ not getting caught by the pack. But
Yeah.
uh, yeah, I tell you, however you feel about the super speedway races, because some people just don't like them. Some people think it's just 40 cars and not a lot of skill and making runs, if you could even make runs, and luck of the draw type thing. But I actually think it's the bread and butter of our sport, man.
Oh
Like,
yeah.
and you want to see those races, and you want to feel like your driver. I would imagine, I'm not a driver, but you'd feel like the drivers would want to feel like that they're actually racing,
Oh
uh,
yeah.
and not having to, you know, I mean, the first stage was pretty much a wash up until the last 5 laps when Chase Elliott got up there and did his thing. So, to get the points and, get a top 10. But I don't know, man. It's a lot of things I guess we got to consider. I thought I had the 4 stages. You mentioned maybe having stage breaks where they award points, but they keep racing and they don't.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
a good idea, right?
Yeah, kind of like how they've been doing. Well, they did with the road courses. Was this last season? This last season, I think they did. I think that could possibly be an option.
Yeah, yeah. That might be something to think about too as we move forward. But um, I guess we'll look at it this week. I'm like you, and the more I think about it, I don't know that that's going to be a factor as much in Atlanta, but I guess we'll have to revisit this story in Talladega Spring
Yeah.
because it's going to be more the same if we continue it like we did in the Daytona 500. So I'm a little worried about it. I hope we can get it fixed. I know the drivers hope we can get it fixed. Do you have anything else to add on that deal?
No, I think we pretty much covered all of it. Well, good chunk of it for sure.
Yeah, yeah. I guess folks, listeners, we don't have all the answers either. Even as fans, sometimes we like to think we do, but when we get to talking, this might be Kaleb and I, you know, over a beer or something, talking and trying to solve all NASCAR's problems over a beer and a campfire or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's just not easy. It's
Right.
not easy answer sometimes, um, but yeah, good fuel for thought, man. Let's go. Let's go into the outro, man. Let's go into the outro and see what we got. Normally, I would do a diecast reveal, listeners, when it's my turn to host. But being on location, I barely got a suitcase packed and stuffed with all I needed. I couldn't throw a diecast in there, so I'm gonna kick it to Kaleb to do a diecast reveal this week, and I'll piggyback on the next episode with mine. I do have a really good one, so I want to definitely get that in. But what you got, Kaleb?
Yeah. So this is one I've been trying to find actually for a hot minute. Um, I know a couple people that have this one, and when I saw this one in person, I had to get it. This is the Cody Ware ECU Pirates diecast 124.
Wow.
So when I saw this, and I got it for a really, really good price of $45, and these have been on eBay for about 239. That's the highest I've seen. So I've with just graduating, with it being my alma mater, I felt like I had to have it. I had to have it. So that's my reveal is this Cody Ware, you know, number 51 ECU Pirates diecast.
I love it, man. That's uh that's Rick Ware Racing
Yes.
Chevrolet, right?
Yes. The Chevy SS.
Yeah. I'm one of the ones that try to peep it and try to look do an eBay search way back when, and once I saw it at 200, I quickly passed on. I did want one and do not have one because I was not going to pay that. But yeah, you got an absolute steal on that thing.
Yeah, I
Um,
think he ran that car at Dover. Oh, I think it was.
wow. Um, can I do a rant? Can I do a quick rant on this?
Yeah, yeah, go for it.
And maybe listeners, if I'm wrong, please correct me in the DMs and in any comments on any of your platforms. But I do know Cody Ware ran that car, East Carolina Pirate Nation. Love it, love it, love it. I remember Kyle Busch running an Appalachian State Mountaineers App State car.
Yep.
I remember somebody running a UNC Tar Heel car.
Ooh, Tyler Reddick.
Reddick.
Yep.
Well, that was a UNC Jordan
What a
one, right?
Jordan brand. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Somebody, if we're gonna Google this, because we're not gonna remember the person that ran this car. I remember it was something from way back, man. But there has been a UNC Tar Heel. North Carolina State University Wolfpack has a robust engineering program, and I don't remember seeing an NC State Wolfpack car, man. So I'm a little upset about that. Now, I don't care about the Duke Blue Devils at all. That's just the old New Jersey school sitting in Durham. So I don't care about that. But I would like to see an NC State Wolfpack car. Let's go. Let's go, Pack. Let's get one. I don't know who we got to talk to about that, but you know, the Chancellor, Randy Woodson out there in Raleigh, man. Let's make that happen.
think I think you need to send him a DM.
Yeah, okay. Hey, that's a great reveal, man. I love you. You guys are doing great with the cars that like not a lot of people have.
Yeah.
That and the Cheez-It car, Buckshot Jones that
Yeah,
Thomas
that was
did.
awesome.
That was great, man, and that one was too. So awesome. Appreciate you picking up the slack for me this week,
Oh yeah.
Caleb. So on the outro, I just have one quick thing I wanted to discuss because I was at the track and oh, by the way, if I didn't, I might have got to this, but I was telling you about the Willie B fan down in the fan zone. I didn't get this dude's name, so like I know you know about the pod and we talked about it, brother. If you're listening, man, DM us because I didn't get your name, and I'd love to talk back and forth with you about my prediction that I told you in the fan zone for the green flag drop, and you were at the Daytona 500 when your man William Byron won. So if you can hit us up in the DMs, man, that'd be great. But let me go with. I want to talk about this thing with Denny Hamlin because it's now Denny Hamlin's been a bit of a villain. I mean, when you got The Rock talking about you being a villain, you're a doggone villain in NASCAR, right? The Rock was telling basically Denny to just embrace it, man. Just embrace it, because not everybody can do it, right? And if you're gonna do it, just do it. But I saw in Daytona this weekend more people wearing Denny Hamlin number 11 FedEx gear than I've ever seen at any racetrack. So I think the NASCAR Netflix special, and I think Denny's podcast, Actions Detrimental, is, and you're starting to see, I think, if you listen to his podcast weekly, like we do, you're starting to see like people, and myself included. I will never be somebody that you would describe as a Denny Hamlin fan. I might have even been a little hater for a minute there, but I've really come to respect the dude and his racecraft and who he is and who he's going to be in the sport when he hangs up his fire suit and gloves and helmet. But I saw a lot of Denny Hamlin fans in Daytona, man. And but now I was sitting in front of a guy and he was from Hendersonville, Tennessee, home of Josh Berry. Really nice guy too. Hope you're listening as well, but it was great talking to you at the racetrack. But he had been going to the Daytona 500s at least since 2019 or 2020, and he was, when we got to talking about Denny Hamlin, man, he got so upset because he was like, with all the stuff that Denny's gotten, being in the twilight of his career, he was like, I still can't pull for him. He said what he did in Daytona when Ryan Newman wrecked and he was down there celebrating, he had a really strong opinion about that. Now, me personally, I thought, Denny, I didn't think Denny did anything wrong there because I don't think he maliciously was celebrating while Ryan Newman was injured. There wasn't anything going on like that in my mind, but he really held on to that, this fan I'm talking about. And there's still this dichotomy, man. I think you got people, it don't matter. Denny Hamlin could cure cancer, and there's going to be half the NASCAR race nation that still hates him. I mean, I don't get it. Yeah. And there's people, I think, like myself, that are really starting to soften on Denny and really pulling for him. Y'all have seen his how Have you seen his tagline of and his merch of all in? It's got
Yeah, the
the two.
11.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
two L's in all are the 11 of the FedEx 11 for Joe Gibbs. I love it, man. You know, I picked them to win the championship this year, but it's just super. Listen, again, there's going to be a large majority of fan base that it doesn't matter what he does, he ain't getting them. He ain't going to get them swayed at all. So what you got?
No, I think you covered all points. You hit the nail on the head with it. I mean, you either love them or you hate them. That's the way I see it. You either love them or you hate them, or you like us. You know, you like to see them play that villain arc. You love to see that. So I mean, Denny's grown on me too. I mean, not gonna say I still hold a little bit of grudge from Martinsville 2017 being at that race, just a little bit. But it's part of it, and I think Denny is he's loving that villain role.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, listen, Danny, if you happen to catch us, we definitely catch your podcast and follow you weekly. But it something to be said for being talked about, good or bad. I mean, we've seen Dale Earnhardt Sr. was polarizing in that way. Jeff
Mhm.
Gordon, all the greats are like that, man. So hey, when the head hits the pillow at night, just know that you're doing something right and you're great, and half the people going to love you and half the people going to hate you, man. But
Yeah.
yeah, that was an easy show with the Great American Race being the focal point. My shirt's got the first win. I wanted to wear this because it shows that 2020 Coke Zero 400 win that got William Byron off the schneid in the Cup Series, uh, as a tribute to what he did on Monday. And by the way, y'all, talking about Lionel racing, one word: pre-order.
Pre-order.
It's
Gotta
already
get it.
Hey,
Gotta
it's
get it.
already done on my end, buddy. It's already done on my end. That was one for the history books. That'll go in the Hendrick case. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. 10 years of futility, and I know that. Listen, I know that ain't no big thing. There's race teams that never win the 500, but for Hendrick Motorsports to go 10 years without winning the 500, yeah, Monday was a big day on the 40th anniversary to the day
Yeah.
of their first race. I mean, come on, let's go,
No,
everybody over there at the Hendrick campus. Y'all gonna have a good week, man. Y'all have a good week.
yeah. I thought about driving over there myself to celebrate.
Listen, much as we go in there and buy, man, you might as well be family. They're probably going. They probably welcome you open arms, man.
You're probably right.
We could
Rick,
probably go get we could probably go share a Budweiser Heavy with William Byron, man. Whenever they crack those open this week,
I think I'll be doing shots in the corner with Jeff Gordon.
Mr. Party Man.
Yeah. Did now I gotta ask. You got your pre-order in. Did you get the elite?
No, 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 no. No. I gotta wait till Kyle Larson does that before we do all that. But yeah, no, I did not do just a standard arc, race version. I'm good, man.
Now I gotta say, whichever race Chase wins that I'm at, I'm have to pull a Thomas here and go with Flash Coat, Diamond, Liquid, Elite, all of the above.
Hey, listen, I go on there when the show's over tonight and look at all the different finishes they're offering. There's a candy finish.
Oh my
Uh,
God, that's new.
well, yeah, it pops up every now and again. But what exactly is a candy finish? Does that look like sugar? I don't know, man.
I don't even know. I didn't know there was such thing as a candy finish.
Yeah, yeah, go look at it, man. They Hendrick went all out on that thing, man. They got every finish you can think of.
Man,
Well, another great episode, man. I'm having a blast. Can't wait. If you're gonna be down in Atlanta, man, I know. Listen, I was able to engage with so many fans and really just had a blast doing it. I cannot wait with all the races that we got on tap that we're gonna be at.
yeah,
Y'all come out, like we'll announce this and we'll be out and we'll try to live update on social media where we're actually going to be, down to trying to like show a picture of ourselves where y'all can come find us, man. If y'all are at a racetrack where we're at and y'all listen to the NASCAR Nuts and Bolts podcast, please come and say hey, man. We are dying to meet the people that are listening to us, engage. You never know. I like as we move forward in the season, we're gonna have some swag. Kaleb, take us out, bud.
Yeah, Mr. Flag to Flag, I appreciate everything. Appreciate the listeners. Appreciate everybody that subscribed, followed, viewed us, listened to us, all the above. If you would, give us a follow on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, and we will see you guys next week for NASCAR Nuts and Bolts Podcast.